Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Happy April now. We are going to be looking back on the month of March and basically going through all of the projects that I completed in the month of March. So I'm hoping to do these crochet with me series going forward if you all enjoy them and if you find them useful. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, and I've broken this up project by project. So it goes through all of March and it's a little bit chronological, but not exactly. So for the first thing that you guys might be interested in is how I organize my crochet projects, specifically my professional projects. So things that I do, usually custom orders. I firstly receive a lot of my orders either through Depop or kind of just through word of mouth. So people that I know will contact me, DM me through Instagram. And I'm currently working on trying to kind of standardize the procedure through which I receive customs. But it takes a lot of time. I'm a full-time master's student right now, and I'm also searching for jobs. So it's a bit challenging to do all that. So I'm currently still kind of in that DM/Depop phase of things, but I am hoping that that will change in the near future. But that is how I receive my orders. So I do a lot of things online, but I also do a lot of things handwritten. So here I have my big old journal separated by tabs. And for me, just handwriting things out is the best way for me to go about it. Because that's just how I organize myself best. Oftentimes when I get an order in, because I'm doing kind of like a DM process, just because someone lets me know, hey, I want a custom, doesn't mean that it's startable right away, right? Because you're still working through the things about sizing. People have very specific things that they want, color, organization, etc., etc. And funnily enough, I used to feel really bad because I felt like my response time wasn't good. But lately, what's kind of been slowing down my ability to start things quickly is because people are busy, and so everyone else's response times have been a bit slow. So sometimes that can take, honestly, up to a week, sometimes 2 weeks before I go from, hi, I have an order for you, to, okay, I'm able to start it. Like I said, that means that when I get an order in, I go ahead and put it into my Excel sheet in the bottom tab, just so I know what orders are in. Sometimes, as you can see, I don't even know what the order is yet. I just know the person is like, hey, Kayla, block me out for a custom. And I fill that information in as I go. Then I go to the actual tabs where you see I've put dates. So I give myself about a week to finish an order. Obviously, sometimes orders take less and sometimes orders take more. But basically, it helps me to communicate with my customers when I'm starting the order, and also give them a projected date about when I'm going to finish the order. And it helps keep me organized and give me kind of everyday to-do so that I can work through a project and kind of hack it down. So especially for the ones that take longer than a week, it also helps me just to kind of give myself deadlines. So even if I have surpassed my week deadline that I wanted to work on a custom, I can communicate to the client that it's taking a bit longer than anticipated, and I will still go ahead and start my next scheduled custom order, but I will also schedule in time to continue working on the one from the previous deadline. So that is how I organize myself, and that is also kind of how the video is going to be organized, because I organize everything kind of on a weekly basis. And it also helps because I currently live in Europe, but a lot of my customers are back in the US. And so it helps me to time when I will be sending large batches of orders to the US, because it is very expensive and I haven't exactly figured out how to do international shipping yet. So for those of you who are business owners that are watching, if you have any suggestions, I am literally so open. Please send them my way. I just need help, and I'm still trying to learn all of this. It is so much to try to run your own business, especially to run a handmade or like a clothing business. And it's a challenge. So I appreciate any input that any of you can offer. So that is how I organize everything, especially to accommodate for sometimes, even if a project doesn't take that long, because I kind of make time to do my crochet business because I'm full-time a student. It's also just to accommodate for the weeks where, you know, maybe I have to focus more on school than on crochet. I couple it with, I have a planner, I have the journal I showed you guys, and I have my Excel sheet. So that's how I organize things. It's also how I track my cost. So that was the other part about opening my website. I actually started crocheting when I was 9. So I'm 24 now. It's been about 15 years. And I started my crochet business when I was 12. And the way that I went about that then is very different than the way that I go about it now. Most of my sales were all in person. I used to do craft fairs, and the crochet market, I guess you would say, was very different than it is now. It's really weird to have been doing this for so long, and then I chose to take a break in college just to, like, you know, I had kind of lost my love for crochet through the business part. My mom had a fashion marketing major, so she really helped me build my business up from when I was 12 years old all the way through high school, but that meant that I didn't really have the love or the creativity sometimes that I had when I first started crocheting. And I decided just to take a break for myself, and I crocheted leisurely, but you know, I wasn't crocheting at the pace where I would be producing enough things to be selling to people, and that was perfect for me. And I did start to sell things again in college, but once again, it was literally just word of mouth, friends that I knew. And it wasn't until COVID where I started kind of like actually crocheting a lot more and really opening up my business again, rebranding and redirecting. So I am very excited to be like doing this as a way to make money again, but I have been very careful not to kind of shift things into too high a gear to where I will get overwhelmed and get sad, you know? And I do think things like Depop during COVID really helped me. But I say that to say, I started selling stuff again during COVID, but just as a means to get rid of all the extra yarn I had amassed over the years. And so that's actually when the Excel sheet started, because when I was doing those COVID customs, I was doing them super cheap because I hadn't crocheted and sold things to crochet in such a long time. And so I was trying to get rid of yarn, but I was also trying to track my expenses, track how long it takes me to finish projects. I feel like crocheting is like building a muscle for any type of sport. So like when I first started, the amount of time it would take me to finish a project then, after having taken such a long break, is very different than the amount of time it takes me now. I can crochet and finish a project much faster. I also like can't focus very well. So I could also focus a lot longer to like sit down for 2, 3, 4 hours to finish a project, as opposed to then I was like doing 30 minute stints. It was very sad. But that is kind of the backstory on my business, and the point of it is that I love to crochet. It has been a creative pursuit for me since I was 9 years old. It was actually given to me as a means to deal with how fidgety I was in school. So I was the girl who like crocheted in school, which is so cringy, and I'm sure I got made fun of for it, but that is what it is. It has been like a coping mechanism. It is a creative outlet, and I love it. And I'm so excited to get to make things with people and make things for people. That's my favorite part about it. And that's how I organize myself to be able to do what I love, you know? And so for the month of March, it was a big month because this was mid-March was going to be a US ship date, which meant that I had to kind of reorganize my Excel sheet to prioritize any orders that were going to the US. And that also means I had to do that well in advance enough to communicate to my European customers that this is the deadline, this is the due date basically for their custom order, and you know, I can focus on my US orders without being stressed. So the orders I have first up is a Depop order. It was a cropped wrap top. This is actually a top and pattern that I designed during COVID. Once again, it was a really fun exploratory phase for me. So the first thing I want to go through is kind of how I design my patterns. Usually I just kind of freestyle it. Like I said, I've been crocheting since I was 9. So as you learn different techniques, I used to use a lot of crochet books and checkbooks out of the library when I was younger, and learn how to do different stitches, and then you follow patterns and see different techniques. And I also knew how to sew. So kind of adapting those things together to create a pattern. So for this one, I did generally freehand it. I always, though, will watch a YouTube video or find another pattern just to see how other people would go about making something. And usually what happens is I watch it, and then even with patterns that I fully intend to follow, I never fully follow the pattern. I kind of do what I want at some point because I am overconfident, I suppose. Who knows? But that is how I usually do it. But a video that I did use to support my design process is this YouTube video here, and I will link it down below. Her pattern's really cool because she actually did a checkered design, but one of the main things that I used from her pattern was she added kind of like a ribbed stretchy piece to accommodate for like bust size and things like that. So I did that to make it fit better, and I think it was a great addition. And also I was just curious about like making a really long pretty tie, and she did a cute little design where she kind of makes it like divot. So I did accommodate those things into my pattern, and the rest of the pattern really is just something that I freehanded myself, and obviously the design of my pattern is a bit different. My first prototype for that wrap top that the customer asked me to recreate for this Depop order was just a scrap yarn order. So as you can see, it's like a spackled mixture of purples, and I tried to recreate that the best I could color-wise for this client. I did communicate with them like the context in which I made it. So as I purchase yarns, if I feel like I'm not going to be able to guarantee a client the exact color that they see in the photo that they want from my Depop page, I let them kind of be active in the yarn shopping process, you know, just so that when they get that final item, they are happy. There's no surprises. And that is this one here. So I don't really have a process of me crocheting it, but if you guys do want a pattern for this top, I would be happy to put something together for you. So I kind of do like a little mesh part here. And then as you can see, it opens up and it wraps around and ties, and I think it's really, really cute. So I did like the mesh panel at this top part just above the bust, and then also on the sleeves, and I did it mostly in half double crochet and back loops only to kind of give it that ribbed stretch. And that is that cropped wrap top for my Depop. It was pretty simple to finish, so yeah. Okay, so the next project that I had for the month of March was finishing a project or an order from the following month. So the first thing I made for this person was she saw something on TikTok that she thought was cute and she sent it to me, and so I recreated it, but I always do my own razzle dazzle. So for this one, I added in crochet cups just as protection. The bottom half is mesh, but when it stretches over your chest, it does open up and, like, you know, put in removable nipple covers. I made it so that they're easily removable so that if she doesn't care, sure, but I just want everybody to have the choice. But the second part was just something super duper cute. This is actually a client that supports me all the time, and I really love her and her family. They're the sweetest people. So I'll put her TikTok up here. But this last one was just like a cute little minion amigurumi. I hate amigurumi, but I will do it for her because she's a great person. So this is just something, it's a TikTok pattern. I don't even do amigurumi. I'm trying. I have like a dismembered doll that I tried. My mom got me an amigurumi book for Christmas of like black dolls. This book, it's so cute. So I do intend to try to do some dolls. But amigurumi's not my thing. It's not my shtick, you know? It never has been. But this pattern was super duper simple. The most interesting thing about this is that I crocheted it while my boyfriend and I did a road trip. So I'm currently living in Paris, and he visited me for his spring break and during my spring break. So we rented a car and we drove from Paris to Giverny. Really, we stayed in Vernon, but it was just kind of fun to, like, you know, it was a cute little project to take with me for a road trip. And like I said, I don't like amigurumi. I do not like doing amigurumi. It's not my thing. And so I'm glad I chose this to be my vacation project because I could do it while I was like happy, you know, because I feel like doing it at home, I'm gonna get annoyed and I'm gonna want to be doing something else. And so I picked a very strategic time to work on this pattern. And yeah, the road trip was super fun too. I actually put like a little run through of it on my Instagram reels. So if you guys want to watch that, it was just really fun. It was super cool. That is the second project, really easy to finish. So the next pattern I don't show you. So this is my third project, and it is a multi-part project. So she wanted a crop long sleeve top and a checkered skirt. She literally just wanted me to recreate the outfit that I made for Valentine's Day, my Fran Fine outfit. And so that's cool. This kept getting pushed down because, like I said, sometimes my clients get busy, and so we'll set the order and then I'm like, hey, I need measurements, hey, I need size, hey, I need this, you know, and like I just have to kind of wait patiently for when they are available to send me that information. So I finally got the info to start the long sleeve top. I actually have a full pattern for this on my YouTube, so I'm not really gonna go into too much detail, and I also don't have that many clips of me actually working on this top at all because, like I said, I have a full pattern on my YouTube that you can go see if you like it and want to recreate it for yourself. The only thing notable that I really did was while I was on my trip with my boyfriend, we found a yarn shop and I grabbed some skeins of yarn from that shop for this crop top. So that is that. That is actually a project. So now we're into projects that I have not finished yet and that I'm still working on. The last part of March got really stressful because now it's April and I'm shifting into finals, and so I haven't had as much time and I've fallen off track of my little schedule with these last two projects. So the long sleeve is almost done. I'm still not even done with it. I've started the sleeves, but you know, still got some more work to do with that. The only notable thing about it is that I do sometimes tweak my patterns as I make things. So firstly, this is my first time replicating my first pattern, which I made in a small for my body for my clients. So usually what they do is they send me their measurements. I prefer to have measurements and then their preferred top and bra size. And then I use standardized charts for sewing to compare their measurements to like the US size chart. So I oftentimes will tweak as I go or improve things. And one of the things I did was in my first iteration of this sweater, I made the turtleneck super long. I don't know, I just didn't like how long it was. So I did make hers a little shorter, especially because by the time she gets it, it's gonna be April. But those are really the only notable things. And then I do think I'm gonna add some rows of half double crochet around the band, just to make sure, because it's pretty cropped. When you raise your arms, I want her to have security. So I'm going to add maybe 3 rows of like half double crochet to make sure it kind of stays as she moves her arms up and down. So that is the crop long sleeve cardigan, and if you want the pattern, I keep saying it, but there's a full video on my channel. Last one. So this is a very special custom order that also took a while to coordinate, not just because of sizing, but because it's a patchwork cardigan. So she sent me an inspiration photo. We set to work on kind of designing her version of it, so the desired colors, etc., etc. And that's something that's just a little bit more challenging to do, especially because we're doing it over messaging, and so it's my job to kind of make sure I can communicate really well with the client. And the first step to doing that is making sure that you organize yourself as well. So I always communicate the first thing with my clients. When they send me inspo photos, I let them know the restrictions and let them know just everything, because they're just saying, oh, this is nice, and I have to give them the reality. The worst is that you send something to someone and they aren't exactly, they're surprised, maybe not surprised in a good way, right? So you want to set your expectations, okay? So once I communicated that to her, that most of her inspo photos were knit, but I can still obviously do some knits. Crochet stitches that imitate knit stitches include a waistcoat stitch, or you can also do a certain pattern with half double crochet that will create that kind of like V stitch. Because I don't knit, I don't know the name exactly. I think it's just the knit stitch that it replicates. For this project, I chose to do the waistcoat stitch, and I'm going to show you how. So you're going to start off by creating your chain. For the patchwork cardigan, I made a chain with 2 strands of yarn of 15. Your chain needs to measure about 6 inches across if you're creating a size small. Then you're going to start row 1. So you will skip the first chain and single crochet in the next stitch and single crochet all the way across. You should have 14 single crochet at the end of this first row. To start your waistcoat stitch, you're going to chain 1 as you would normally, and you are going to create single crochet, but instead you will be putting the head of your hook in between those 2 horizontal bars of the stitch of your former row. So as you can see, I'm putting them in the middle of basically the V that you create when you do your single crochet. Not the V that's at the top of the stitch, but in the middle of the stitch. Hopefully I'll be able to give you guys a better look so that you can see what it looks like. I'm so sorry, I didn't realize that the lighting kind of exposed this light colored yarn, but if you can see, I'm not putting the head of my hook in the V's on top of the stitch. You are putting them through the middle of the single crochet. And this is how it will look when you're all done. But that's that. Then usually I will do my research. I've done I did a chunky crochet cardigan. I did 2 of them over the winter, so I already kind of knew what stitch I wanted to use and like the construction of the sweater. So the next main thing was doing the patchwork aspect of it, and also like I'd never done a sweater with a ribbing, and she wanted like ribbing around the neckline and the bottom. So I did that, and I created an online, like a visual. I just used Canva. I'm not really like a super capable like artist, so I just used Canva and created a visual and sent it to her and gridded it out and told her she has to tell me, you know, what colors she wants where. And I did hand draw one as well for myself too, but this is usually how I do it, right? And I take my measurements, I figure out the size that each square has to be, and then I usually, as I crochet, just for my memory, just how much I chained, how much I double crocheted, or whatever stitches I do, to make it easier on me as I'm crocheting, as I'm going. So that is the process, and that is what I'm still working on. I'm still working on that, unfortunately. And this is just me showing you all that it is a process of tweaking as I go, which is why I really like the handwritten method. So here's how the first square came out, and I did this with one strand of yarn, and later on I realized that I much better liked the look of 2 strands of yarn. So as you can see, I just kind of crochet, work, rework, and then go from there. I take it with me on the go. So here's another square I did where I just used a heavier weight yarn. I like that square better, and then if I'm using a shade that's a lighter weight, then I did 2 strands like you see here, and I'm comparing that to the single strand square that I created earlier. And lastly, why my friend introduced me to this little general store, I guess, that sells like home goods and clothes and stuff, and also yarn, and it's really affordable, and they had some fun little like textures and colors, so I did pick up some stuff for this project. So I'm actually working on 3 projects simultaneously right now, but it's April, so we're not really going to go into those 3 so much because it's April. So if you guys want an April crochet with me, please comment down below and I will create that for you, because I have started filming some of the projects I'm working on, and like hopefully I will finish these projects in April so you guys can see the final look. But yeah, that was the month of March, and I'm probably gonna just insert one more clip showing that when I do my custom orders, I try to add like cute little flares. Because I've moved to France, that means that all of the like business tools I've accumulated over the years to package things and make things look nice are back at my parents' home in the US. And so I am doing the best I can with what I have, but I still try to add like something cute. So lately I've been getting postcards, because most of the time I'm shipping back to the States, and using those as my like thank you for purchasing, as well as the care instruction cards. And so this is just me like selecting a postcard, and I try to select really cute ones for my clients just to say thank you. And yeah, that was my month of March in crochet. So this month I didn't really get to work on any personal projects. They were all business related, but like I said, it's because I had a big ship date for March. I particularly love talking about customs because I think there's a lot of challenges with doing custom orders, but it's just so worth it because it's such a personal connection that you get with the client, and you get to recreate something for them, and it's like, oh, I don't know, it's just my favorite thing. Even on Depop, I mean, I was on Depop in the, not for that long. I started Depop for a while, but like I started really studying my crochet on Depop maybe in like 2019, 2018. And I mean, my first film camera, I got it because I did a trade with someone. Like I crocheted them a cute little like easy top, and they sent me a film camera, like stuff like that. I love Depop. I just love, you just meet so many other creators. I love doing trades. It's just fun, and things like that are what make it worthwhile for me, getting to communicate with people and also getting to see people wear the stuff you make. It is just such a special experience. So please, like any other crochet content you guys want from me, any questions that you have, please ask, and I would love to talk about it because I love talking about it, obviously. And yeah, so until next time, I will see you guys soon, and have a great rest of your day. Bye. Bisous. Bye.